Oh baby, the signs have just fell over and knocked them all bandy, look. Oh, but I wasn't interested in that. I was interested why. Once again, they got people sitting in the pyramid. You know what I mean? Look, the pyramid. Pyramid. You know what I mean? Do you understand it? No? They get people sitting in a pyramid, yeah? This is the all-seeing eye. As a compass,
yeah.
And you're sitting on the square, the four corners of the square.
Yeah.
Square, circle, pyramid. Freemasonry. Aha, you know that, mate. Even the floor, look. I watched the Tan Lodge. Oh, look, that's black, white tile floor anyway. But they own all the real estate, don't they? Are you a Freemason? No?
No.
You're not on the square, no?
No.
I don't blame you, don't. That's bad news, mate. That's all over. You look at everything. Look, you see the circles within the pyramids?
I do, yeah.
You know, all that pyramids, all them circles, they're all squares. And if you look at the windows, they're either 9, 6s.
Yeah.
And the reason that they're 9, it's 3 times 6 for 666 Lucifer. You see what I mean? You know, like the dollar bill with the all-seeing eye. That's what that is. You're now sitting in that configuration. You see?
There you go. That's where to put us.
I know. You got to watch them. They got, they run society. All that money and all that wealth, everything you see here, they own it. They took it by stabbing all the peasants in the first place, taking the land.
There you go.
We build it, and and nothing flows back down to help communities.
No, that's right.
Like children. Everyone should have their own house. And enjoy life, but people don't.
The poor gets poorer.
That's right. Yeah, you know that, mate. Oh, you got a Harley? Did you go Thunder in the Glen?
No.
Oh, you didn't get there. No, that's the last one this year anyway.
That's
so.
right, yeah. No, yeah. We've done a few in Ireland. I'm from Ireland.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Lovely.
We've done one last week. Dublin and Kellis County.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, last weekend, yeah.
Nice. All right. Have a good day, you both.
Seems
Yeah.
all right.
I'll just get. I ain't filming you two. I film feet. You know what I mean, or chairs. I don't want to be intrusive. You know what I mean. But that's what that is. That's the pyramid, the circle, the all-seeing eye. Then you sit on the square. Tricky bastards. I'll tell you. Watch them. Have a good day. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. So there you go. But when you talk to people, even though they were understanding, the thing is, it's getting it into them, so they, so they do something about it. You know what I mean? And again, look at this. Look, you see? What does that tell you? Who owns this? Do you think, with that big all-seeing eye in the pyramid? Look, you see? Who owns it? And again, you've got your Masonic floor, and look, you see? And what you got here? Oh no, not another 3 chairs round the table, sitting on the square. You know what I mean? Tricky little Freemasons, indeed. And then here again, they're doing the same thing. Look, they're doing the same thing. Look, with their black and white chairs. Give you a quick clip. Look, see what I mean? Black and white chairs, square tables, and round tables there. You see what I mean? But I say they've done it all the time. You know what I mean? The copper still, Royal Kashmir, all owned by Freemasons. We'll never own it. You'll never have it. You know what I mean? Look, what do you think? What do you think these pyramids here for? Look, you know what I mean? It keeps off. That's their gang territory. You see? It's all marked by their gang. We own it. You own shit, mate. You know what I mean? Now look, what do you think this is on this gate here? Look. Whoops. Can you see it there? 2, 3, 2, man. 3 circles make a square. You've got your 4 pyramids. You've got your circle. It's all there, 33-degree, look. They own it, look, it's in the windows, look, the square and the Cumpiss. You know what I mean? It's mad, isn't it? Absolute madness. It's Lucifer, look. But it's this cube, look, it's a Masonic cube with the pyramid, you see? Brilliant, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant. We've got the busker. See the pyramid, look? What's this here, this pyramid? Oh baby, what's that about? What's that half circle? Pyramid, circle, pyramid. See? Look at that, all of it. All Masonically owned. Look, see the 2 pyramids, look? And the circle underneath, look? See? Because it makes the square and the Cumpiss. It identifies this Bothwick Close as a Masonic owned neighbourhood, where you will be perverted. Now look at this. This is a seat again. Look. Hello, kind lady. Having a lovely day.
I sure.
Oh, you're the best. Again, look. We've got the tables. Look. Look. I don't want to film anyone, so I'll do it from this angle. But you see the 3 chairs. Look. Where's the other chair? See what I mean? They got you all sitting on the square, my little profane friends. You know what I mean? Crazy, innit? Oh, I know where I am. I'm down here. I was up there the other day. But there's the heraldry of the ownership, like this Freemason here. Look, see that Freemason there, and you got to believe that the world's round and all this sort of stuff. You got to trust him because they call him a scientist. So you got to trust it. There's the heraldry of the person who owned the turf here. There's your heraldry on here. Look, these are the people today that still run and control. Look, there it is. Look. I don't know if you can see it, I've got too much sun in my eyes, look. But again, that's got to be a bank, that's Cafe Nero. But look, wait there, I'll come out, you can't see it, can you? There you go, look. Circles, squares and pyramids. Pure Masonic, look. Can't beat it, can you, look. It's Rome, we're in Rome again, aren't we? But these are the families, look, you see, these are the families, look. They're all in a circle, of course, as you can see. And the circles, look, are sitting within the square. Look, give you the 4 pyramids, pyramid, circles and squares, and then you get your big obelisk there, look, with the unicorn on top, look, you see. But this is who runs this territory and this turf. Look at the big circle, look, and you got your 3 points, look, land, air, water. We dominate it, and if you're clever you can see the other one that goes down, so there's actually 2 there, look, which give you 2 pyramids, look, up and down. That give you the 6 within the circle, and then you got the 3 above. But that's what that all is. Madness. You know what I mean? It's great. All these families, look, all sitting within the square, the circle. Oh, look, they're all on the speak here, but she wouldn't tell them that it's the squares and that these people still run Edinburgh with an iron fist. See the pots, look? Masonic pots, you can see them all in the graveyards. Look at all that. Is that Rome or what? Or in Greece? See, look, all these little pyramids, look, the sun hieroglyphs above the door. But they won't tell you that. These history writers, they work for the Masonic Lodge. They won't give you the true history. They won't tell you nothing about Greece or Rome. I bet she hasn't even mentioned Greece or Rome, and that the heraldry and the families still run this territory, and that this is their gang site, you know what I mean? And you can't encroach on that or encroach on it or whatever the friggin' word is, do you know what I mean? But anyway, like I said, they own it all. They got the narrative on everything because the people giving them tours are their Freemason mates, you know what I mean? It's crazy, isn't it? Look. Masonic. See? Here, Masonic. 3 on either side, look. No. And you got the pyramid, of course, but it's 3, look. 3 for 33 degree. The windows are 6, look. 6 windows. Oh, it's so amazing how these Freemasons have got away with all these sun hieroglyphs as well. You know what I mean? See the circle there, look? Right there. It's a gang sign, look. This is owned by the Freemasons, and all the money we get is ours. And this here, look, on the church, blatant as you can get, look. Who runs this church with these squares, circles and squares? Squares, circles and squares. Who runs this church, do you think? Who built this church? Who owns this church? Every bit of money going in here is more wealth into the coffers of the lords, the dukes and the earls. Do you know what I mean? And I can't get in there to show you, so I'm sorry. But again, you can see against the church there, it's a circle on the 2 Jachin and Boaz. That's what that represents. So I show you everywhere. It's all over the place. Their silly Masonic symbolism knows no bounds in all towns, in all cities, and so long as they control the narrative, and they don't live in amongst it, they never do. Look, there you go, look at that up there. I mean, look at that building on the left there. What is that? Where's the Roman pharaoh? You know what I mean? You see? It's all built, it's all around. They own all of this. Every bit of wealth thing here, all flows up. All the money flows into them. Doesn't flow down. It flows up into their Masonic coffers. All they care about is money and keeping the profane poor because they don't want the competition. I like that door sign though, look at that, look. It tells me it's Masonic and it's 369. 369, how wonderful that is. But all this is owned, it's all Masonic real estate, you know what I mean? Again, another Freemason, look, that's being honoured. Nothing profane about that statue, do you know what I mean? Nothing. It's all Masonic. Actually, you can get in, look, you got a queue for about 10 hours, pay 20 quid to get into the church. And again, the money goes into their coffers. You know what I mean? You can't even get into churches no more. Look, you got to start paying to get in them. Look, but you see the 3 pyramids. Look, the sun hieroglyph. Look, the all-seeing eye in each one, represented by a shield, of course. But who do you think runs this cathedral? I presume, with the pyramids on top. Look, with their little squares on top. Look, see, their little obelisks. Look, the pyramids, the obelisks. It's all a good hint, isn't it? Oh, it's Stages or St Giles Cathedral, that's what it is. I just worked that out, you know what I mean? But all these Freemasons, look, that's what all these little figures are. Look, they're all Freemasons, giving the history of how they corrupted the society around each and every society through history. But this tour guide will never tell you that or explain that to them. See, look, this is the heraldry. Look, I don't know if you can see it, the sun's in my eyes. But them shields, yeah, they're all heraldry, you see. That's giving the story of the freak, that they're all Freemasons, look, 3 of them, you see. They're all on the square, because you can see the square in Cumpiss. See, it's all history, their history, nothing to do with us. See, they rid horses, look, with knights on, and we were like profane people with pitchforks, you know what I mean? Look at all them circles there on the square, look, where are they? Can you see them? Hopefully you can. All them circles and squares, they own all of this. Look, who do you think that dude is up there, look, on that big pyramid, look, you see? They won't tell you that in a history class, look. But there you go. Masonically owned, my profane friends. All them sun hieroglyphs. Anyway, have a great day, and remember I love you all.